Hi everybody, this is Sheila from the Crochet Nurse channel. Today what we're going to create is a couch arm cover, and you can see that's right here in front of you. We're going to start that project today. If you like this kind of content, please feel free to subscribe and don't forget to hit the notification bell so that way you will be informed when we have upcoming content. As you can see, this guy is pretty big. I'm trying to keep it away so you can kind of tell, but we have the top here. The top is in a bean stitch and the sides are in a cable, and then we also have a nice trim on the edge. And this is the front. You can see that there, kinda. See that there. So we have two different colors going on here, two different types of yarn. So for the gray, we are using the Premier Parfait. I threw away the label, guys. Sorry about that. The Premier Parfait. I'm going to be using a 6.5 hook, which is the recommended hook size for the Premier Parfait. So I'll be using that. For the black that is in here, I'm going to be using the Bernat blanket in the black. And for that, the hook size that I will be using will be an L8. Now you can use different yarns. Both of these are bulky yarns. The Premier Parfait, like I said, recommends a 6.5, and it is a 5 bulky, and then the Bernat is a 6. So I am mixing a couple different yarns here to get the desired look. The size of this at completed is 5 inches across the top up here, 7 inches down the front and the two sides, and the length, it's actually 29 inches long because that was the specifications that my daughter gave me. But you can complete yours in a different size, and I'm going to show you that now. So for what we're going to do is, for the top, we're going to actually start at the top up here first, and it's going to be created in a multiple of 4 plus 1. I'm actually doing a chain of 13 because my top is only 5 inches long, 5 inches wide, and so if you needed 6 inches wide, so you go measure the top of your couch, the arm of the couch, and if you're 7 inches wide, you'll chain 21 using the Premier Parfait. 25 chains if it is 8 inches wide, and then you could do the math from there. Basically you just keep adding 4. So I'm doing 13 because I have a 5 inch wide, which is going to be 12, 4 plus 1, and that's going to be the top. And so and then we'll be using, like I say, the 6.5 hook to start this project. So grab your hook, grab your yarn, and let's get going. Okay, I have 10, 11, 12, and 13. And that is my desired chain length. Like I say, yours may be totally different than mine. Get your desired chain length. And for row 1, the only thing we're going to do is starting from the second chain from the hook, not counting the one that's on the hook. We never count that one. So there's the first, the second. All we're going to do is we are going to do a single crochet. And we're going to do that all the way across. And so when you get to the other end, I have 13. When I get to the other end, I will have my even number. I will have 12, which is going to be that multiple of 4 that we need. So go ahead and do a single crochet all the way across, and then meet me at the end, and we'll start from there. Okay, let's begin the bean stitch. Row 2, chain up 2, and turn your work. In the first stitch, you're going to put in a half double crochet. So yarn over, right in that first stitch, push it in, bring it back out. You have 3 on your hook, and then yarn over and pull it through. From here, next stitch, we're actually going to start the bean stitch. And so in that next hole that pops up, you're going to push it through, grab your yarn. You have 2 on your hook, yarn over, push through, grab your yarn, you have 4 on your hook, yarn over, push through into the same hole, and now you have 6 on your hook. Make sure you keep it loose. Yarn over last time, turn your hook upside down, pull it through all, and then chain 1 to lock it down, and you've just created your first bean stitch. And that's what it should look like. from here, we have our half double crochet, created our bean stitch. Now we're going to skip one stitch, go into the next stitch after that, and I'm making mine big so you can see it. Do the same process. Go in, pull up a loop, yarn over, go back into that same loop, pull up a loop again, there on 4, yarn over, go into the same space to pull up, and now I have 6 on my hook. Yarn over a last time, turn it upside down, pull through, chain 1. And that's what it's going to look like. And then you will continue this all the way across your chain. So going into your space, skip the next one, go into the next one here, pull up. You're going to go in and out 3 times, and then after the third one, you are going to do a final yarn over, pull through, and then chain 1. Continue on. Like I say, mine's pretty short, but continue on until you make it to the end of the row, and I'll meet you back at the end and we'll talk. Okay, when you get to the end, you're going to find that you have 2 stitches left. One here, and then the turning chain. For the final, when you get to the last, for the final one, you're actually going to put a half double crochet in that last stitch. So do what you did at the beginning, yarn over, and then pull, stick it through, and then pull through all 3. And that will be what it will look like for row 1. Now we're just going to repeat. Yarn up, or chain up 2, turn your work. In the first stitch, we're going to put that half double crochet, so we're yarning over, pull it through, pull through all 3. We immediately now bump into the bean stitch, and we need to find out where we're going to put that, right? So there's your bean stitch. There's a hole here, and which is to the immediate left of the bean. And then there's another one beside this bean. The hole that you want to put your stitch into to create your next bean is directly in front of this bean. So each one of them is going to have a hole directly in front of it, a small little hole there. That's where we're going. And then it's going to be the same process. So there's that hole. I'm going to go in, just like we've been doing. Go in, yarn over. There's a sink it time, yarn over, and there's the third one. Same process, and then pull it all through, lock it down. Now I have this bean here and another bean on top. Now I'm looking for my next bean. Here it is, and there's the hole right in front of the bean, and that's exactly where I'm going. I'm going to go right in there, do my 3 push throughs and yarn overs, pull through, lock it down. Go to the next one, looking for that hole, the same thing. And this is going to be your process throughout the rest of the top of this armchair cover. 3, push through 3 times, and then once you have it, then you're going to do your yarn overs, and then chain 1 to lock it down. And then when you get to the end, which is where we're almost there now, there's my last bean, so I'm going to go in there for my last time. 1, 2, and 3. Pull through, lock it down, and I have 2 chains left over. There's 1 and there's 2, and then this last one way over there, because I'm seeing there's the 1 and you can barely see it, I am going to yarn over, and I'm going to put that half double crochet in there. And then it's going to be the same process. Chain up 2, turn my work, and start it over again. So you can see it's starting to turn into a nice little process there. So I've chained up, now I'm ready to go again. And here I'd put my half double crochet and then start my bead stitches all the way across. What you're going to do now is, if you have your width, you're going to just now work your length. That's going to be on the top of the arm of your couch or the arm of your chair. And then when you get the length that you need, come on back, and we're going to start working on the sides that are going to go down the front and then the sides. I'll see you in a bit. Alright, so my desired length of mine has been met, and you want to leave a little bit. Like I said, my total length was be like 29 inches long, but I kind of stopped at like 28 inches, and I have 50 rows. A couple of caveats that you want to know. You want to end your row length So it's a little bit shorter than the total length that you need, A. And then B, you want it to be in a multiple of 4 plus 2. So mine is 50 rows, and it's going to be including this last final row. So I've done all of the other rows. Remember, we started this process with a single crochet at that end. And so when we get down to the other end here, we want to add a single crochet on this end up here, and mine will end up being 50 rows. That's 48 plus 2, which is 4 plus 2, and it's going to be about 26.5 inches long. And so go ahead and do a row of single crochet just at this last one, chain 1, and then just do a row of single crochet all the way across. And then once you finish with that, go ahead and bind off, and then join me back and we will start on the trim work. All right, let's begin the trim. I've already put I'm going to do black yarn. I've already put it on my hook, and I'm going to go ahead and join it in. I'm going to pull through and then just pull on through. Now what we're going to do is actually do a row of single crochet all the way around. So I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to go right in and I'm going to do a row of single crochet. 1 full round all the way around the whole item. So when you get to the corners, the standard turn for the corners, you're going to add a chain 1 space, and that way you can make it around the corner. And I'm about there now, and that's what we're going to do. Get to the corner, chain 1, and then you're going to make it, like I say, at all 4 sides. Get that done. When you get to the side over here, this is the short side, there's my end. I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to turn my work, and I'm going to keep right on going. And where I'm going to go now is when we did these bean stitches, we did them in the chain up of 2, and that's where all of my stitches are going to go. In each one of those chain 2 spaces, I am going to put a single crochet. So I'm going to keep going, top side, all the way down the side. When I get to the bottom down here, this is where my original was. I'm going to do my stitches across here and then finish up to where I end up joining back. I'm not going to join, but I'm going to end up right back over here on this side. Okay, I just finished my first row of single crochet, and this is my last stitch. So I'm going to go in there, do a single crochet, and then there's where I started at the beginning. And so I'm just going to go in there, single crochet, get that out of the way. Pull it through, chain 1, and then I'm going to turn my work. And now I'm going to start going back. There's a caveat for when we're going back around, because it's the second round of single crochet. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to start here. I'm going to chain 1, which I've already done, and then go right back into my single crochet. I'm going to single crochet in the single crochet. Here's the difference on this round. Okay. So I have my back here, that stays the same. We're going to do 3 sides. However, I'm going to go down this row like I was, single crochet and single crochet. But when I get up to here, to this here, to the corner, I'm going to, because mine is 52, so I'm going to go down the edge, and this time I am not going to put an extra chain stitch. So I'm going to, this will be a single crochet, and then I'm going to jump right over to the next single crochet and grab it. I'm not going to put an extra chain 1 stitch, and that'll actually help it start the curve. And so one row we had a single added a chain 1 to get around the corner. This is the second row. When we get to these 2 corners, we do not add a chain 1. We just keep going around the corner, and then we do the final on the 3rd side, and then that's where we're going to bind off, because we're not going to do the 4th corner. Okay, I have my 2 rows of double crochet around 3 sides of my item, and on the front it's actually doing that little bit of a curve there. So if you're staying with the same color, we'll just continue on. If not, go ahead and join back in your original color, which I've done. You want to do it on one of your long sides, and this is going to be the back that's up against the edge of the couch. This is going to be that row of single crochet. So I've joined mine in, and what you're going to do here is you're going to chain up 3, 1, 2, 3, and then in the next stitch you're going to put a double crochet. You're going to start with 2 double crochets. Okay, now this is where the pattern is going to start. You're going to skip the next stitch, and then the next 3 stitches after that you're going to put in a double crochet into each. So skip a stitch and then 3 double crochets. Okay, I got mine there. Now that that piece is done, I want to come back and I want to do a double crochet within that stitch that I have skipped. And so to do that, I'm going to yarn over, going to bring it forward, and so the pattern there is going to bend a little bit, stick it through forward, through the front, and with your yarn, you don't want it to be on top. You want it to be in front of the piece that you're working on, and then pull it through. Make sure you have some give, because as you can see, I'm pulling it and stretching it at the same time, so that little cable comes across the front. Once I have it, I'm just kind of trying to pull it for you. You can see it's right here. Then I'm going to complete the double crochet. So I'm going to go through 2 and then go through 2. And now you can see the little cross in the front and that it does it in the back as well. So it's going to look the same on both sides. And that's actually going to be the pattern. So now I have a double crochet in each one of those stitches. So I'm going to do it again. So there's my last double crochet. I'm going to skip the next stitch, and then I'm in the next 3. I'm going to repeat that pattern. There's 2, there's 1, there's the second, and the third. And now I'm going to go back, same as I did before. I can easily see that stitch. I'm going to yarn over, and I'm going to go back in there forwards, push it through, make sure my yarn's in front, not over the top. I want it around the front so I get that length. Give it a little stretch when I pull it up. And it will feel funny the first few times. Then I'm going to yarn over and complete the double crochet. And that's what it'll look like. And we will continue that pattern all the way to the corner. So there's that one. I'm going to skip. I'm going to go into the next 3 and do a double crochet so I can keep right on going. And remember, we did a 4 plus 2, and you have your 2 at the end. You have 2 double crochets that started it out at this end, and so you have your 4 that you're working on now. I've done my 3 double crochets. I now want to go back up and pick that one up. I'll tighten that a little bit. Yarn over again. Push it through the front. Sorry about that. Make sure it's around the front, not over the top. Pull it through. Tuck it up a little bit so you have some extra yarn. Pull it through 2, and then pull it through 2. Same process. And so we started, like I say, 2 double crochet, and then it's going to be 4. You're going to continue on like that all the way down. Let me pull my yarn up for a second. All the way down to the end. And because we did a 4 plus 2, I'll meet you back here at the end, and you should end up with 4 to end this spot here. If not, jerry rig it and do 3 if you need to. But I'll show you what we're going to do at this corner. I went ahead and marked off, let me move this over, where it actually lines up. So there's the end of this color, and it lines up to that stitch. And so this is where my double crochet is going to be, because remember, across the front we made it in a multiple of 4 as well. And so we're trying to just line things up. And so I'm on the last one, so I'm going to skip that stitch, move into the next one, and I'm going to do my my 3 double crochets. Hey, cooperate. So I'm going to do my 3 double crochets in there, and then I'm going to loop back. Missed that one going there. And then I'm going to loop back and do that 4th double crochet in that stitch that I skipped, right? So that'll finish off this side of this project. There's the 3rd one. Okay. And then I'm going to loop it back, bend it over, push it in there, get it around the front, and grab it in. Okay, so that completes that. My next stitch, the stitch is already taken, so my next stitch is right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to jump over there, and I'm actually going to put a double crochet within that space, bring it in there. I'm going to get this out of the way. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn it. And then I'm going to put a sinket double crochet in the next space. Okay. So I've already, it's basically going to, there's your cable here. I've jumped over, and then I'm going to do 2 double crochets back to back. Then to get across here, you can see here's the other side of that edge here. I should have enough stitches in here. I'm going to start repeating the pattern from the side. So I'm going to skip the next stitch and then go in and do the next 3. 1, 2, and 3. And then go back and catch that stitch that I skipped. So we're right back to that pattern again. The only thing you're doing differently is that when you finish off the row here, there's finishing off the row, 2 double crochets right at the front that's going to line up. So there's the front, and I've lined it up, and it kind of tightens up that corner some more. And then I start repeating the pattern. So I should have another, there's another space I'm going to skip, and going into the next one, and do my 3 more double crochets, and then come back and pick up that stitch, right? Let's do that. Pick it up, bend it over, get it in there, wrap it around the front, pull it. And now, because remember I only had 13, well 12 once I finished that, going across, and now there's 1, there's 2. I'm ready to complete my 2 double crochets, and that actually completes my front. And so let me get rid of this one. And so that's what you're going to do. You're going to end up with 2 double crochets on each side in the front. Boom, boom. Okay. And then you're looking at it upside down. There's the pattern on the side, 2, 4 plus 2. You have the 2 at the other end, 2 double crochets. Then go back to your repeating pattern, which is going to be skip 1, 3 double crochets, then come back and do the cross to catch it. And now I'm ready. I've just completed my 2 double crochets at this side. And so now I'm going to start around this side and go all the way down to the other end, doing that same pattern. Okay, I just finished that row, and as you can see, yours should be doing this as well. It should be having a nice bow at the end that's going to be at the front of the couch. So I'm at the end of the first row, and I have my 2 double crochets that I need to do. So I'm going to pop those in there. All right, and then I'm going to chain up 3, and I'm going to turn my work, and I'm basically going to repeat the same pattern back across again. The one that I just did, I'm going to repeat that pattern again. So I have my chain 3, counts as that first double crochet, go in, put my next double crochet in, and then repeat the pattern across that we just finished. What you'll find on the sinket row and beyond is, and I already did a couple so you can kind of see, you'll start to see that arrow form. The arrow will form, and you also see, you have to pay attention to where your stitch is. So it'll, like this is my 4th stitch from this little grouping here, and so this stitch right here, which is at the front, and you can see the stitches in the row before, this stitch right here is the stitch I need to skip. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's the spread. And so I'm going to skip, I can see my stitches attached here. There's a little, you can see it and it's attached. This is my skip stitch. I'm going to go into that next one over there to do my double crochet, and then do that 3 times, right? And it'll seem odd. Again, this is another thing that it'll seem odd, but then you're going to go back and pick up this stitch in here is where you're going to go. So I'm going to go back in, and I'm going to pick up that stitch. Make sure, again, I'm still coming around the front. And you'll know if you're right, because when you complete it, you'll see that little, what looks like a little arrow there. All right, so continue on. I am at the end of my sinket row of those little the little cable stitches, and yours should be looking like this as well with the little V's. So I'll finish off with my 2 double crochets at the end, and then we're going to start on the final, or the third row of this project. There's my Cinquet. And for this, what we're going to do is we're going to chain up 2, and we're going to turn. All right, and for this row, what we're going to do is a half double crochet in each stitch. So all the way around, you're going to do a half double crochet. So go in, yarn over, go in, pull up, and come out. Okay, and that's what it's going to be. So for me, because I'm using the Chanel, each one, this is going to be your 3-row pattern repeater. It's going to be 2 rows of the cable, and then a 3rd row of the half double crochet. And so for me, when I finish up this 3rd row of half double crochet, for me that is 2 inches. And as I shared with you at the beginning, my sides need to be 7 inches long, but I'm going to save 1 inch at the bottom for the border that we're going to put on. So depending on how long you want it, you want to calculate this, because it's going to be a 3-row repeater, and then figure about 1 inch for the border. And so that's going to be your process. So 2 rows of the cable, and if you need more help with the cable, go back and back up the video and look. And then the 3rd row is going to be the half double crochet. When you finish with the half double crochet, just go right back and do your another 2 rows of cable and complete that process. All right, so I have finished my length here. I have 3 rows of the cable stitch, and in between I have some half double crochets to kind of make it look like that. And you should be at your desired length now as well. Bind off your other color as we talked about, and join in to your Cinquet color. And let's get started on the trim here. And this is actually going to be a pretty easy pattern at this point. So once you have it joined in, what you're going to do is, I'll push that away a little bit so you can see, you're going to chain up 5, and then in your stitches here, go skip 2, and in the 3rd stitch, you're going to actually bring it in and slip stitch it in. All right, chain 5, 3, 4, 5, skip 2, and in the 3rd, slip stitch. And that is going to be the pattern all the way around, and that's what it'll start to look like. So when you get to the other end, meet me back. I've made it to my end, and I've just chained my last 5, and I have 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to put my last slip stitch right here in the end. Just FYI, yours may not be the same size as mine, and so you may end up with maybe 1 left over or 2, but if I were you, I'd back it up, and so that way you still have 3 left. So you may move this stitch back here so you get 3, but try to hit so you end up with a slip stitch at the end, because that'll make it easier for you for counting the next time around. So slip stitch in the end. Then what we're going to do is we are going to chain up 5, 4, 5, go ahead and turn your work. And I know it's getting quite big, getting hard to look at. Turn your work, and then what we're going to do is in each one of these curves, we're going to go in and we're going to slip stitch right into that curve. And then we're going to do the same process around again. Chain up 5, 4, and 5, 5, grab it. And then in the top of that, in the top of the curve, we're going to slip stitch. And so what it'll do, it'll start looking like this. And so you'll have 2 little areas. This first one will be kind of straight, but then after that you're going to have a little, your Cinquet little bump there. Okay, so that's going to be the process for this final row, and this would be your final row in case, unless you wanted something additional, then you could just go ahead and do another one of these rows. But that's what it'll look like. So it'll give a little edging down there that's really pretty. Okay, so once you finish off with this Cinquet roll, I say chain 5, slip stitch on the tops of each of those, and that's what it'll look like going around. Once you finish that off, go down to the other end, bind off, weave in all of your ends, and you are done. Congratulations. All right, have a great day, everybody.